is working to expand trade with Mexico as the two countries sign a trade memorandum of understanding, and a large Canadian business delegation visits Mexico.
I feel very privileged to be able to work with you as well at what is a critical moment for our countries and in the North American relationship.
North America's economic balance may be quietly shifting. As uncertainty surrounds the future of the trilateral trade agreement between Canada, the United States, and Mexico, Ottawa is taking visible steps to strengthen its partnership with Mexico.
We haven't actually leaned in to what KUSMA, our trade agreement, affords us, and we just have not invested in building the relationships or educating ourselves or connecting those businesses.
Merchandise trade between Canada and Mexico has increased 12-fold since the original NAFTA came into force, but business leaders see potential to gain more market access.
The timing is significant, and the political implications are hard to ignore. The story begins with a diplomatic message. The phrase "critical moment" stands out. This is not routine diplomacy. It signals awareness that North America is entering a sensitive period in trade relations. Canada is publicly emphasizing respect and cooperation with Mexico.
Yeah, it's in the interest of all three North American partners for us to have an integrated and cohesive economy, but that's certainly not the way that the president is seeing this issue. The president has taken, and his team has taken at various points, both in 2017 and 2018 during the last NAFTA talks, and now this past year, more of a divide and conquer approach of trying to have separate conversations with Mexico, separate conversations with Canada, and hope that we are weaker by having those separate conversations with them. So it is in Canada's interest to renew this effort, to be well connected to Mexico, to forge greater commercial opportunities, as many stakeholders have said, to use the existing provisions within KUSMA to their fullest, but also to make sure that we're on the same page going into what we hope will be talks to renew this agreement through this year.
There is no confrontation in this language. Instead, the tone reflects unity and shared purpose. While the United States is not directly mentioned here, the broader regional context makes it clear that Washington remains central to the conversation.
The incredible level of interest generated by this trade mission is a testament to Canada's commitment to a renewed and sustained partnership with Mexico.
This opening lays the groundwork. Canada is positioning itself as collaborative, not reactive. The discussion now moves from diplomacy to economic planning. Canada and Mexico are outlining an action strategy aimed at increasing cross-border investment, expanding advanced manufacturing, and lowering bureaucratic barriers. This is not symbolic cooperation. It is targeted economic coordination.
Dominic LeBlanc is leading a trade mission to Mexico with business leaders accompanying him.
It's been the most significant bilateral trade mission ever undertaken by Canada. So there's the private sector is showing up in record numbers.
The mission kicks off today with a focus on cooperation on tariff-affected sectors like manufacturing, agriculture, and clean technologies. But the mission comes as the Trump administration fuels uncertainty around the future of free trade in North America.
The mention of industrial sectors, including advanced manufacturing and space-related industries, shows that the partnership is forward-looking. Both countries are exploring opportunities beyond traditional resource trade.
Given what we're both dealing with Donald Trump and what we're both dealing with the Chinese, Mexico's relations with China are similar to ours, hit and miss, depending on the topic. The long neglected trade between us has once again resurged. Or research back into the popular consideration. So Mexico is appreciative of the change in tone from Canada. You remember the Prime Minister was throwing them under the bus, Doug Ford, Danielle Smith.
Right.
But that's changed. The federal government's changed. The Alberta government, Danielle Smith was just in Mexico. So Mexico appreciates the attention and is open and willing and looking forward to more trade.
The underlying question is why this acceleration is happening now. The answer may lie in ongoing uncertainty around U.S. trade policy. Canada and Mexico appear to be strengthening their bilateral ties as a hedge against potential instability in trilateral negotiations. This is where the political element becomes explicit.
And it is critically important for Mexico and Canada to coordinate their positions. It makes us both stronger.
Yeah.
President Donald Trump is directly referenced, particularly in connection with past threats to withdraw from or renegotiate North America's trade framework. The numbers tell a powerful story. Since NAFTA came into force, trade between Canada and Mexico has multiplied 12 times. Bilateral commerce now exceeds tens of billions of dollars annually. At the same time, Canada has sent one of its largest trade delegations to Mexico in decades, more than 300 representatives from business and government sectors.
One of the biggest things we need to overcome is a lack of understanding. We have had this tendency to see each other through the lens of the United States and North America, which remains very relevant and certainly critical to both our futures. But we need to start to have a strategy for each other that really takes advantage of all the opportunities that still remain for us to invest in and look at. And what this will do is strengthen our North American competitiveness. So by Mexico and Canada putting a lot of investment into our bilateral pillar, we'll be able to create a North America that's much more dynamic, much more ready to compete with the world in 2026 and beyond.
This scale suggests urgency. If US policy were to shift again, as it did during the 2017-2018 NAFTA renegotiations, both Canada and Mexico would face significant exposure. Strengthening bilateral ties provides insurance. The United States remains Canada's largest trading partner, but diversification appears to be part of Ottawa's long-term calculation.
Remember last time, we woke up when we were negotiating with the first Trump administration on an August morning to discover that Donald Trump was saying he reached a deal with Mexico and he would decide if Canada could join. What wasn't as well reported or known was that the Mexicans have been keeping us up to date on everything they were doing with the Americans.
This section acknowledges a shared political reality. Donald Trump's influence on trade negotiations continues to shape North American strategy. The reference to a change in tone from Canada suggests that Ottawa has reassessed how it engages Mexico during periods of US pressure. In earlier negotiations, Canada and Mexico sometimes approached discussions separately. Today, the focus appears to be coordination. Mexico's openness to expanded trade signals that both countries recognize mutual benefit in presenting a united front during upcoming reviews of the trade agreement. North American trade policy does not exist in isolation. It interacts with global supply chains and geopolitical competition. This is perhaps the most politically charged moment in the timeline. The suggestion that the president pursued a divide-and-conquer strategy during prior negotiations reflects concerns in both Ottawa and Mexico City. During the NAFTA talks in 2017 and 2018, separate discussions created uncertainty across industries. From Canada's perspective, maintaining coordination with Mexico reduces vulnerability in bilateral negotiations with Washington. The principle at stake is cohesion. An integrated North American economy offers stability and predictability.
Happens under KUSMA, we saw an enormous growth after we signed NAFTA. So by 12-fold, we grew our two-way merchandise trade over this time. And what we've also seen is a huge influx of Canadian investment into strategic sectors in Mexico, where strengthening the North America competitiveness in terms of other regions.
This final segment adds an important layer of realism. Not all challenges originate from Washington. There is acknowledgement that Canada and Mexico have not fully capitalized on the existing trade agreement's provisions. KUSMA already provides mechanisms for cooperation, dispute resolution, and regulatory alignment. However, business networks and institutional coordination have lagged behind the agreement's potential. The current trade mission and renewed bilateral strategy can therefore be viewed as corrective measures.